All right. Happy Monday, Inspire Beauty. It is the final Monday of March. Man, March flew by, but so did Q1. So I hope as we're wrapping up the first quarter of the month and getting into springtime and into April, that you just take a moment and look at your goals. Look at what was your intention in 2021. What did you come into this new year saying that you wanted to do? And as a team, I know we set goals in all areas, right? And so I want you to look at all those, not just business, not just, the numbers on a page, right? But like get gritty with it. Like, how are your relationships doing? How is your spiritual health? How has your physical health been going? How's your mental health? Thinking through all of those and really getting intentional. Because when you stop for a second and you look at those, rather than just stuff them in a drawer and wait till 2022 ball drops, it allows you some perspective to get in the driver's seat, right? And really adjust whatever it is that you need to adjust. So as we're kind of getting into a fresh month, but also a fresh quarter, really take a second and look back on that. You guys, coming up 3 weeks from today is the launch of Let's Get Up, Shanti's newest program. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't know. I just saw Meg, I'm going to butcher her name, Meg Eagleson. Anyway, she is in the cast. Y'all, I want to dance like her. Okay. And so if she can dance like that, I feel like maybe I can dance like that. So I wasn't so excited. And then this morning I saw that on Instagram and I was like, she's like a mom of like 17 kids, the best abs I've ever seen in my life, rockin' moves, so funny. I'm like, I want to be like her when I grow up. So definitely excited about this program. Next week, we're going to talk all about it. Okay. We're going to talk about the launch and kind of what to get your heads wrapped around as we lead up into that. But tonight, to wrap up the month, we have a treat because my dear friend Kori is speaking to us. You guys, Kori and I met at the Rise Business Conference in South Carolina. But what's crazy is we met at this conference because I was told by my friend in the Bay Area that I needed to meet this person because number one, she's amazing and she lives around us. At the time I was still living in California, or I wasn't living in California, but I had just recently moved away. And she said, she lives here. She even goes to the same church that we go to. Like what? Like all the things. You guys, Kori and I attended the same church, but like didn't even know each other when I lived in California. And anyway, she was like, she's going to be the perfect coach. Like, I already know this. And she saw this in her, maybe even before she saw it in herself. And so Kori wasn't a coach when I met her in the fall of 2019 at the Rise Business Conference, but something stirred in her that weekend and had been stirring in her. And in 2020, she did some impressive things, all while raising a child, giving birth to another child, and dealing with the loss of her mother. And I'm sure Kori will get into maybe some of that stuff with us tonight. But you have to understand that in her first year in this business, she just said yes and went. And she built a team. She built herself in her first year to 1 star and got that invite to NLC. And she was unapologetic. And it's really a treat to have these guest speakers on, you guys. Like, it's such a treat of mine to be able to have other people in the network come on and speak to you. But tonight is even more of a treat for me because although I didn't know Kori in the Bay Area and we didn't get a chance to hang out before I moved away, she's a part of my friend circle from the Bay Area. And I see her heart. And I see behind the scenes of the kind of woman that she is, the kind of wife, the kind of mother, the kind of friend that she is. And man, it makes it that much sweeter to watch somebody like that have success. And so tonight, it's just my honor and my pleasure to introduce Kori to you guys. She's going to talk all about pouring belief into others and just rolling with all of that. So guys, get out your pens, pencils, and paper, take some serious notes. And hopefully at the end, if you guys have questions for her, make sure you're jotting them down too, so that she can answer them. Kori, I'm gonna mute myself. You can take it away.
Hello, friends. Britt, first of all, thank you so much. That is quite the introduction. And thank you for having me tonight, you guys. I have a little mini slideshow, so I'm going to switch over to that. I am not a big tech person, so you may have to bear with me, which just shows you can run a business even while you're still trying to figure out all the things it has to do tech wise. I'm great at pouring belief into others. Tech, not so much. Well, we're working on it. And I told Britt when I first was putting this together, I really wanted to talk about the power of belief, because that's truly something that I feel like has helped me in my life, but especially in this business. And then I wanted to give like 5 really like tangible tips that you could take with you as a coach. And before I get into that, I'm going to share just a little bit about me. So this is me. Britt already touched on it. This is my family. I'm married to the most wonderful man, Isaac. We have 2 beautiful children together. Eli is our oldest. He is 2.5. And then we have Ava, who just turned 5 months today, actually. And so that was our Christmas photo. And then these are kind of some more recent photos of them. But they are kind of what got me into coaching, honestly. I was thinking about going back to teaching when Britt met me. I went back to teaching, and then I quit, and then I went to Rise Business. And I was like, I don't know, but I think I'm going to start a business. I don't know what that looks like yet. I knew that I just didn't want to be away from my son anymore. I was leaving before he woke up, and I was coming home most of the time sometimes barely in time for dinner, and sometimes barely in time for bedtime. And that just wasn't the vision of what I had for my life. And I knew I love fitness. I'll get into that in just a sec about how like fitness has transformed my life, how these tools have transformed my life. But I wanted a way that I still felt really passionate about doing something. I love being a mom, but I wanted something more than being a mom. I wanted something that I could show my kids, that I can dream big, that I can still be present with them, and I can still pour into other women the way that I've had people pour into me. A little bit about my favorite things. I am an Enneagram 7. I kind of joke with my husband, it's like being married to Tigger, because I have lots of enthusiasm. I have lots of energy. I like to do all the things. And yeah, that's like just kind of me in a nutshell. I love, love, love Bob Goff. He is also an Enneagram 7. I think I just relate to him the most. I'm currently actually reading, I have it on my desk, Everybody Always is my favorite book of all time. If you have not read it, get your hands on it, because it's wonderful. I'm going to be reading Dream Big next, his other book. But I love Bob Goff. I listen to his podcast. I feel like he just gets me. And he has honestly helped me to figure out my strengths as a 7 and pour them into my business and who I am. So if you're an Enneagram 7 or know an Enneagram 7, point them in his direction. And if you're not any of those things, still point in his direction, because he's awesome. And I also love a good spicy margarita. I am currently on the hunt to find the perfect spicy margarita blend. So if you have that, send that my way. A little bit of my journey as a coach. So when I had my son, I gained over 68 pounds. I actually just stopped looking at the scale at one point. The picture on the far, far left is me probably 3 months postpartum with my son. And I just, for the first time in my life, didn't recognize myself in my skin. I'd always kind of been, I guess, like I really always loved fitness. I swam growing up. I was in cheer. And when I became a mom, I kind of just like lost myself in the momness. And so I found some mom groups. I started working out with them. And then I found Beachbody, and my ability to work out from home and see transformation without starving myself or without any of the other craziness that I used to put my body through was incredible. So that was my first transformation I had. And then I got pregnant with Ava about 5 months into this journey. So that is me in Tahoe. I was 37 weeks pregnant with Ava, and that is probably one of the most fit I've ever been. I think just working on this fitness journey, the thing that I love most about this is that it teaches you how to be truly healthy in any stage of life. It's something anybody can do. And I really love that. And then on the far right, that is my current, that is my current transformation. And so just working on walking through this season and still having these tools of fitness. And I show transformations. I think the cool thing about transformations is it shows people how you show up for yourself. But as Britt explained, like 2020 was not the easiest year. I lost my mom. We ended up completely remodeling her house. We had a little one and another little one on the way. And the thing that I loved about this season is I could fit these tools into my life, and they actually made me better. Leaning into the team made me better. Leaning into these tools made me better. And I became stronger because of it. And here comes the power of belief. So one of the stories that they shared at NLC, which I loved, was a story from Prime to Perform. If you've read that book, you might already know this story, but they talked about this idea. There was two groups of students, and they gave each student a lab rat. And they told one group of students that this lab rat had been genetically modified to perform at its best. It was going to be able to do any trick that you taught it, and ultimately succeed better. Then they told the other group that the lab rat was just a normal lab rat. Then they had those groups put them through like a maze, and they gave them a week to make sure that the rat could go from one side of the maze to the other. The one that got the rat that was genetically modified, they worked really hard, stayed up late, figured out how to get the rat to go through. And the other one, who had just the basic lab rat, kind of took their time, spent a couple hours a day, but didn't put much into it because they already felt like they were going to lose. Well, at the end of this, the one that was genetically modified ended up going on to do the maze perfectly, and the other one didn't do as well. And what they were told at the end is that they were the same lab rat, which is crazy to me because I think sometimes in our life we do the same thing. We feel like we're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if I can coach, or I don't know, whatever your I don't know is. And what the thing that happens is when you play small in one area of your life, you play small in all areas of your life. And so that story taught me that when you pour belief into others and you pour belief into yourself, you can set yourself up for anything that you want to do. And I think if you listen to enough people who've been successful, you'll hear time and time again how they failed, how they haven't done well, how they've had setbacks, but they just kept going. Another beautiful story that was shared with another coach is she talked about this idea of finding people to run with you in this business, which is ultimately when I started coaching, I just knew that I wanted people to have access to these tools and love the tools the same way I did. And I wanted to get it in the hands as many people as possible. And as I was coaching, I came across my friend Debbie, who started coaching with me. And I brought up this idea with her of just running together. I think sometimes we feel like, oh, we need these certain tools or we have to start at the right time. But I think in this business, if you just find somebody to run with you and believe power into you or believe belief into you or borrow belief from, that's where success truly happens. We are coming up to be an almost 2-star team. And it isn't because I'm like clearly like I have very basic skills when it comes to technology, when it comes to things. There is nothing special about who I am as a human to make it easier. It's just that I put in the work and I believe in people. And so I think when you have those that belief and it pours in others, it trickles into every other area of your life. And then I want to leave you with some really tangible tips because I feel like I could talk all day about how to pour belief into people, but you're like, okay, great, but give me the tools to actually walk the walk. And this is for whether you're like a seasoned coach or a newer coach. I would say this is the biggest takeaways that I got from being at NLC of some of the top leaders in the company who are talking about this is how I got successful. This is like the tools that I did or the steps that I took to get there. And the first one is to walk the walk, right? If you're going to ask people to join you on this journey or be with you on this journey, then do it too. I know most of you are. I love seeing Britt's stories in the morning because I know you guys are hopping on, you're working out together, you're doing quiet time together. And I think show people how this can work in their life, right? If you love Shakeology, show them how you make it. For me, it's like a simple breakfast, right? I'm a mom of two littles. I just have to get out the door in the morning. It's the perfect thing to like get me out the door. Um, if you are working out in the morning, in the afternoon, show them how you do that. Show how these tools work for you. My second one is be coachable and ask for help. I think sometimes we forget to ask for help in this business. When we see other people succeeding, people want to help other people. And so if whether it's reaching out to Britt or another coach on your team and saying like, hey, I see you doing this really well. Can you show me how you did that? Today I went live in my team page, and you guys, I'm telling you, I'm not tech savvy, and I had to do it from my phone. And I was like, hey, can somebody help me figure out how to add this live story to another team page? Ask for help, whether it's like, hey, how do I like invite this person, or how do I reach out, or hey, can you help me with this post? It doesn't like sound the way I want it to. Ask people, trust the process. And then when you're going to your coach or your sponsor coach or another coach on the team, be coachable. If you're asking for help, know that they're taking time out of their day to help you. And so give them the like opportunity to truly help you. And also be thankful, right? When they give feedback to you, take the tips that they give because they want to see you succeed. They're not going to tell you things that they don't actually think is helpful or isn't actually helpful in their own business. Number 3, brand yourself. And this actually came from a lot of top leaders in the company. And I think there's something really special about this. So people want to know who you genuinely are, right? They want to hear, I know that Britt loves Frankie. Like, I know that from her stories. I learn that all the time. I know that she loves fitness. I know that she eats plant-based. I learned how to use the air fryer for salmon from her, right? These are all things just from watching her stories that I know about Britt. And I think that's really cool. I think oftentimes it can be easy to feel like we forefront with either like Beachbody or something else. But the truth is, like, people want to know you. They're going to come to you because they say, I want to be your friend. I want to go on this journey with you. And so continue to brand that, continue to share your story, share your health and fitness journey, and then share your life outside of that. The last piece with that is share tips. This came from, I actually heard this from Emily Faber when we were talking, and she talked about to add value to the life of other potential customers. And so that means like today I am doing a gallon challenge with my team right now. I found this gallon water bottle off Amazon. And so I shared it on my stories. I said, hey, I'm really loving this. I've had a few of you ask, here's where you find this water bottle. Maybe it's a favorite tip that you're doing. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe you love like, hey, this is how I like get a boost to energy, right? Do you go for a walk in the sunshine? Do you drink some Energize and then do something? What are the things that you're doing that help you in your day-to-day life that could help somebody else? 4, share the team. I love Britt does this really well in the mornings when she's either doing quiet time or doing a workout. She's showing how she's working out with you guys. She's sharing the team. And so I think the best part about getting plugged into this is getting plugged into the community, right? Like anybody can do at home fitness from anywhere, but being able to do it with other people that they know are going to be cheering them on is something truly so, so special. And so when you onboard people, help them to get plugged in. Maybe that's like meeting on a Zoom and saying like, hey, I just want to like get to know you more, get to know your goals. I want you to know that I'm here to support you. And so help them with that journey is going to take them so much farther in using these tools. And then number 5, my favorite one as an Enneagram 7 is have fun and celebrate those small successes. I think sometimes I see people just in business and honestly in life who forget to have fun, who forget to celebrate those small successes. For me, you guys, my first paycheck, I think, was like $47 or something. And you would have thought I just won $1 million. Like I was pumped. It was my first paycheck as a coach. And I was like, I have a real business. Like I was pumped on that. And then I let that energy fuel me into being an almost now 1-star team and working our way to a 2-star team. But I think sometimes like we get stuck on like, well, I wish I were farther ahead, or I wish I was here, instead of just celebrating where we're at and then having that energy ignite you into where you want to be. Yeah. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. I think that's going to add on to like the belief into your team. Yeah. And then, so that's all I have for you guys. That is my recap, but I believe there's great power when you pour belief into yourself and into others. And then 5 to thrive, which are really tangible. Walk the walk, be coachable and ask for help, brand yourself, share tips that you love, share the team, because I believe it's the best asset, and have fun and celebrate those small successes.
So good, Kori. I love that. I love that you talk about that the team is the best asset, that anyone can do fitness anywhere. Like fitness is a multi-billion-dollar industry, everyone, right? Like there is no shortage of fitness industries, yet people still aren't quite thriving in their journeys. And why is that? Well, we have a missing piece, and it truly is this community. I love, love, love that. I'm going to kick it off. Do you have time for questions, Kori?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, you can drop questions in the chat. Let's ask her all the questions, right? I have the first one though. You said have fun and celebrate your small successes. What's currently fun for you in your Beachbody business?
Yeah. So right now I'm always finding ways to like hold myself more accountable. And I'm, as a 7, I love like, let's bring everybody in and do this with me. Our team is going in to do a 75 hard challenge, which I have never done. I'm slightly terrified, but it's going to be great. But I'm just bringing people with me. And so I reached out to a couple other teammates and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. We already have all the tools to be successful. Do you guys want to do this with me? And it's fun. And now it's become like, a multi-team thing. I have another friend on another team who reached out and was like, hey, I think I want to do this too. And so I think that's the part, like, I'm not fancy with graphics or anything like that. I just say, hey, come do this with me. And sometimes you end up creating this challenge that you never saw yourself doing. And it's a fun way to keep things exciting, not only like in fitness, but like just in life. Like I never thought I could do this. I definitely could never do this alone. But I think that's what life is about, is like trying new fun things.
Yeah, that's so fun. And have you had seasons in your business where there wasn't, where you felt like it wasn't fun?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And how do you pivot during those seasons?
Yeah. And I think that's going back to like, I think I take a second. You have to like step back and reflect, because oftentimes if I feel like I'm not having fun, that I think it comes sometimes from a place of like, I don't feel like I'm doing what maybe is authentic to me. And so I think it's easy in this business to see like, well, what is this coach doing? Or what is this coach doing? Or like, they're having a lot of success with that. Like, I don't know why it's not working for me. And what I usually look at it's usually because it's like, oh, I'm trying something that like doesn't really feel authentic, or like I don't really like to do as much. And so I think like own who you are and learn who you are in this business. I think it'll teach you a lot, and it'll teach you a lot about like the things that bring you joy, and then pour into those, right? If you do a challenge and you really love it and you're like, oh, I'm going to do more of those. Like that was fun, because that energy coming into your team page and coming into your invites is going to come off differently than if you're just trying to like grab at random things.
For sure. I'm not seeing any questions just coming in yet, so I'm just going to keep asking questions.
Yeah, cool.
So since day one, and this is the cool thing, you guys, when you see Kori on social media, it's just very like, she's there, she's sharing her journey. I love you said, share what you're doing. And I think that we talk about that as coaches a lot, right? Share what you're doing. And everyone's like, okay, I'll share my journey. But she said 2 other things. I don't know if you guys caught that afterwards, that are really important. Share why you're doing it and share why you love it. So it's not just about sharing your workout clip every morning, but are you talking about what it is you're really doing and why you love it in the current season you are in? And Kori, you do such an amazing job of that progressively on your stories every day, just in your journey in general. But take it back like a year and some change ago, and you just started out as a coach.
Yeah.
Who gave you permission to, because you've done that since day one.
Yeah.
Who gave you that permission? What, like, why did you just start right away like that? And why didn't you wait and observe and learn more? What caused you to jump right in like that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Nobody. I just kind of did it. And I think that's kind of like the thing is, if you're gonna get good at anything, you kind of just have to do it. Which is maybe the not so fun part sometimes, because like that's times where you put yourself at a higher risk to fail. But I just learned that like I don't look at failing like the same way. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about like it's unfortunate that in school, like they have this like pass or fail mentality, because we're teaching kids that like failing is a bad thing, when failing is just really a reason to like, oh, let's just like correct course. I told you guys I did a live today, and like I think that's like maybe my first or second live ever. Like I'm not a big like go on my page do live person. But I realized like, hey, if I want to do this and I want to do more lives, like the first one might kind of suck and it probably will, but that's okay. We're going to like keep doing it and eventually I'll get better and eventually it'll feel easier and eventually technology will feel easier, right? I'll get used to doing whatever it is. But you have to be willing to kind of like suck first and then go. And you might do it the first time and be awesome at it. And that's great. But when I look back at my first stories, I'm like, what? Like, I don't even know what I was talking about half the time. But I was just on there talking because I knew like, okay, this is like a best practice I should be doing. So I'm going to come on and talk about whatever. And I got better as time went on.
I love it. Something that's really interesting about Kori in the beginning of your coaching journey, at least I know, is I feel like you were hitting diamond in your business before you were actually hitting Success Club consistently, because you had a very emerald again mentality, right?
Yeah.
You believed in the team right from the beginning. And so that's really what you invited people to sign up as. Can you talk about that in the beginning, how even though you weren't hitting Success Club, you had that emerald again benchmark, and how you used that kind of to build your team in the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of what I said earlier, like I, from the beginning, really felt like the team was the best asset. And for me, coaches are who is in my team page. And so that's how I invited. I said, hey, it's a great way to get a discount. It's how you get into like our challenges and the best part of our team. And continue to just invite there. And honestly, I didn't even really know what Success Club was at the point, which is like such a cool thing that you don't have to know all the things. I think sometimes we wait and we're like, well, what if somebody asks me what's in Shaco? Then you Google it and you send it to them. Or what if somebody asks me, right? Like then you Google it or you ask Britt, like I think like give yourself the grace that like you're not going to know everything from the beginning. And two, like I truly believe coaching is the best part. Even like when I started, like I wasn't necessarily coaching right away. I was like, okay, I get a discount and now I'm going to start sharing about this, but I don't really know what else that means. And so I had a lot of belief in like, hey, I know what this team has done for me. I know what being on these team calls have done for me. And I just want to share that with others. I don't know if that answers your question well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If nobody does anybody have questions, guys? Because I'm just going to keep reeling them off because this is fun. Nicolette wrote, what do you think is the biggest challenge for you right now in your business? And what are you doing to overcome it? I like that question.
Honestly, I think in early postpartum, it was hard because like, just like the fog of postpartum, coming off like a really high of my most fit pregnancy and then going back into like sleepless nights and being like, I don't have the energy that I had before. And I think as a 7, it can be hard to show up like, well, everything's kind of a mess right now, but here I am. But I think what I realized in that journey is like, people don't want to see perfect. They want to see relatable. And so, being able to show up when like it was messy and like there was spit up all over my shirt and I was exhausted and I'm in this like postpartum fog. I think just showing people like these tools still are the best thing for me. This team is truly the best thing for me. And it's what got me through. Like, I don't know how anybody does motherhood without Energize. Like, moms on this team, I don't know. I like can't live without it now. And hydrate when I was nursing, and Shakeology to like was like a huge part of my prenatal. Like, I just can't imagine my life without those tools anymore. And I definitely can't imagine like trying to drive to a gym right now with a toddler and a little one. Like, it would be a nightmare. Like, and a super mess. And so I think like show the messy. I think the other thing that I show a lot is like there's a lot of times where I work out, my like Ava, my daughter, is like laying on the floor, my son's like crawling on my back, and like that's just part of it. And that's part of working out with me. And so that became like a huge way for me to like connect with other moms, connect with other people, and then ultimately share like this is what's working for me in this season. And I think just learning to like be a little more like vulnerable in that way was like a huge hurdle, but also like a really good, wow, like I'm actually relating to a lot more people being just exactly who I am.
I love that. And it goes back, you guys, that whole walk the walk, that is the whole why you're doing it. You have to kind of understand the people who are also in your season, people who are in your shoes too.
Yeah.
They can't put themselves into your shoes unless you're sharing the why behind why you're doing it. I love how you just said, I can't imagine driving to the gym with two littles. And right there is like an easy thing to say in a story every single day you go to your gym, right? Is to show how quick that commute is, right?
Yeah.
I love it. You talk a lot about the Enneagram. So for anybody who is not like super privy to Enneagram, or they're very fresh in it, maybe haven't heard a lot, or they maybe know their number, but they don't know much. What's some best resources you would suggest? What would you say for a newbie with the Enneagram?
Yeah. So I will type into the chat. There's like a Truity, it's like Truity.com. I think it's like the Enneagram test place. But I will say I talk a lot about it because it's like beach bodies transform my life, but Enneagram just helped me to like understand who I am. I am full of energy. My parents are not that way, so I don't think they understood me growing up. And I just felt like I became more of like, oh, okay, like I think I know, like I get this now. And then I was able to like, I always loved Bob Goff, but I was able to like put to words like, oh, this is why I love him so much. And now I can like understand myself better. Also for those of you like in relationships, any of relationships, friendships, whatever, it helps you figure out how to like love other people well, like what their gifts are, how to communicate with them. I know for my husband and I, so my husband's an 8, he's the challenger on the Enneagram. And so he's just a very direct and straightforward. And so I can give it to him straight. Like I don't have to dance around. But I also know that sometimes he's going to give it to me straight. And I'm like, I'm a little more gentle as an Enneagram 7. Like sometimes I need you to give me like constructive criticism in the nicest way. Like do it in like a, what is that, positivity sandwich. Um, so that is my style. And I think it just helps you not only to understand yourself, but like how to understand like the world around you. But yeah, I will try to find that. And Britt, I'll probably send it to you. I'll try to find the link and then you can post in the page.
Do you think that that's part of why you're so, I feel like you thrive at pouring belief into others and thrive at this, come do this with me, right? Like that mentality. Do you feel like this has helped you because you understand people and how they tick a little bit? It helps you have more natural conversations when talking through objections or.
Yeah. So I think like that for sure. I think when people come with me through objections, one big thing that I took away from NLC too is like when people are saying no, it usually means it can mean no, but a lot of times it means they just need more information. They don't fully understand what you're asking of them. They don't really get it. And I think from our side as coaches, oftentimes you're like, this is so simple. Again, like I don't understand why you don't want this. This is great. But sometimes like they just need you to say like, to ask them like, hey, like totally get it if it's a not yet. But like, is there any questions you have? Or like, can I ask why you feel like you might not be ready yet? And maybe like they just feel not ready. Like maybe it's a time thing. And then you can talk about like, well, the best part about this is we have like 20-minute workouts. right? Like you can be in 20 minutes on with your day, right? I'm doing 75 hard, but there's lots of people on my team that aren't going to be doing 75 hard because they're in a season of like, I need a 20-minute workout and then I need my Shako and then I need to get on with my day because that's all I have time for in this season. And that's okay too. And so I think when you're getting like no's or not yet, like just trying to help them walk through that. Um, of like, okay, well, let's go back on that a little bit. Or maybe they just need to get to know you more and trust you more. And so that's where I would say like, go back to just building a relationship and like friendships with people. Some of the people that have joined my team, I like had literally just built friendships with over Instagram, like for a year, like of just like checking in, how they're doing, all the things. Because I'm way more likely to be committed to somebody and trust somebody who's a friend than than a stranger on the internet. And so I think like remembering that as you're like building rapport and building connections, like having that piece too.
So good. Okay, I got some rapid fires and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm having fun. Okay. What is one thing that you would tell a newer coach on this call? Like, what's the best advice you give a newer coach on this call?
Oh gosh, the best advice. Honestly, just go back to belief. Like you got it. I think like it can be so easy to get in your head about like, oh, well, I'm not ready or I'm not in the like not in the shape I want or not in whatever. I don't have the right tools yet, whatever that is for you. And I think like just the coolest part about this business is like it's a come with me business. Like I've said that a few times. Like when you're inviting, like it's not like a hi, I'm so great and perfect, come do this with me, right? It's a hey, I'm living in like the chaos of life right now, and it's a little messy and I'm starting this new program and I'm starting this nutrition or whatever it is for you, and say like, do you want to do this with me? Like I'd love to do this together. Because I think that takes away like you feeling nervous or scared or like you have to have it all together. um yeah, and I think on the other side it's way more fun to have a friend do it that way. And I think the other piece that I heard is like find people to run with, and then also find people um that are you're like you can say hey, do this with me, but also I lost what my next thing I was going to say was. I'll think of it, it'll come back to me. All right, give me the next one.
I love it. Okay. So I'm kind of going beginning, middle.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So we've got the new coach. They're doing the come with me business, right? Not a come
Yeah.
watch me, but a come with me.
Yeah.
Now, what about that coach that's struggling? They're stagnant, they're stuck, they're in a drought. What's the best advice you could give them?
I would say like go back to the basics, and like also are you doing things that you're excited about, right? Because I felt that like I was like I'm kind of at like the five. So Ava turned 5 months today, and I'm kind of feeling like okay, I'm ready to get my groove back. And that's where I was like, I need something that's going to challenge me because I'm going to be excited about that, and I'm really going to have to lean into my team because it's hard. And so that's where like the 75 hard came from. And I'm not saying like don't feel like you have to go do 75 hard, but maybe it's just like finding a program that you're like, I've really been wanting to do this, but like I don't know, I'm not sure. It's a new challenge, whatever. And then invite to that. Just get something that's gonna like kind of reignite your fire because that energy will come through in your invites.
Perfect.
Mhm.
And then what about the coach that's diamond, maybe 1 star, pushing for 2 star? They're in the same arena, building that team and building other runners. What's the best advice you give them right now?
Patience. I think sometimes like when we're so close to a goal, we really like to like, we got this, we're so close, and we want to rush it. But the best, most stable teams come with time. And so just keep showing up. I think sometimes like we miss the power of like consistency. It's this business is truly just consistency plus time. And the more consistent you are, the more people on your stories are going to see that, on Facebook are going to see that, wherever you're sharing this. Um, I think that's how like I've had people come to me just because I'm still here. They're like, okay, you're still doing this. Like there might be something to this. And I say, like, just keep getting your own results. Just keep pouring people in, right? Find a power hour time, right? If you have coaches that you guys are pushing for 2-star with, like, hey, let's go find a YouTube, let's sit on Zoom and let's do a power hour together, right? Just getting back to like the really simple basics. Is going to be awesome, and then build with them, right? Have that run with me business. So it's like when you're inviting to coaching, it's come with me, and then if you have other coaches that you're running with, like, let's just run together and cheer each other on and pour belief into each other.
I love it.
Mhm.
All right, last one, and I promise.
Yeah, yeah.
So you guys are pushing for 2-star, inching closer to that goal. What's next for Kori? Where are you going next in your business? I mean, obviously
Yes.
2-star is going to happen. So like, I mean, like,
Thank you,
after
friend.
we cheer you on the National Wake
You,
Up Call and
friend.
everything, what's next for Kori?
Thank you. Yeah, so my goal is 5-star elite, which is scary to put out there. And to be honest with you, I think sometimes I said 2-star premier. That was kind of like my goal that I set at the beginning of 2021. And I was like, this is great. And I had a mentor life coach say to me, when you play small in one area of your life, you play small in all areas of your life. And she said, I hear that you want to be a really good mom. I hear that you want to be a really good wife. I hear that you want to be a really good friend. You're inches away from 2-star right now, which like feels like you're kind of just like meh. Why would you not make your goal this? And I said, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it that way. And she asked me, she said, what would you be really excited about this year? And I said, 5-star elite. And she said, and I said, but that feels terrifying because that I don't feel like I'm right there right now. And she said, well, what if you got almost there, right? It's almost like the idea, like shoot for the moon. And even if not, you'll land among the stars. And that felt really good. And so that's why I gave the advice of like, if you're feeling kind of stuck in your business, find things that you're excited about, because that momentum and like maybe scares you just a little bit, right? Like, I think it's good to live in a way that you're like, oh, okay, I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited. Um, and push for that, right? Because even if you don't hit it, you're closer than you were before. And so I think keep allowing yourself to like dream those big dreams. Whatever you want this business to be, it will be. I've seen so many, if you've watched enough national wake up calls or coaches who've spoken, who said like they just kept going, right? And some people did it in a matter of years. Some people it's taken a little longer, but they all got there, right? Their journey might have looked different, but they all got there. And so my biggest advice would say just keep showing up.
I'm like mind blown. Like I see, like I look around the screen and I see where, our team and our coaches want, you're an amazing wife and you're an amazing mom and you show up every day to that morning Zoom and you are on every book club and you like, I see all the components of life. And it's like, then why would we play small in the business if every other area of our life we try to level up and be as big as we can be?
Yeah.
I love that perspective. That was so good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed that. All right, guys. I don't know if you had any questions, but I hope I think in all of that, Kori, you probably hit the nail on the head in any question they could have asked at this point. So thank you so much for that.